I'm Clifford II, and welcome to another episode of Impacting Lives That Impact the World. Hi, and welcome to Impacting Lives That Impact the World. And this episode is brought to you by Styling Tips. You can look like a million without having a million. I have the pleasure of having with me a fantastic individual. He graduated from Columbia University with a civil engineering degree and has been working for the Port Authority for over 20 years. But that's not the exciting thing that I have to tell you about this young man. This young man has been helping individuals get into their own business for a number of years. He has started a lot of his own businesses and has helped others achieve their dreams by starting their own business. And I'm excited to have him here, and I just wanted him to kind of tell his story because one of the things I always know about you, Derek, is that I've never, ever heard anyone say a bad word about you. So I want him to tell us his secret. So, Derek, thanks. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Cliff.
So, D, let's start just by just tell us your background. Like I said, you graduated from Columbia University with a civil engineering degree. What made you go into civil engineering?
Well, that's interesting you asked me that, Cliff. Actually, when I was in high school, I had a strong background in math and sciences. And I actually didn't know what an engineer was when I was in high school. My guidance counselor kept urging me to go into engineering. She said, because you have a strong background in math and sciences, that's where you should go. And originally, I thought I would go into architecture, which is a form of engineering, but a little not as intense, because I loved to draw as a kid, you know, I used to doodle all the time. So I initially thought I would go into civil engineering, but I particularly had a strong background in physics and mathematics, and physics and mathematics translated into what is now civil engineering. So I wound up going to civil engineering, basically at the guide urges my guidance counselor and teachers in high school.
Now, also you played a lot of sports growing up, because that's another way that I know you. We both are athletes and we love the game of basketball. Right. So did you play high school basketball and you played college basketball, right?
Yeah, I started playing very early, probably around 8 or 9 years. I had a good friend of mine named Greg McNair, who's since passed, a great ball player, and he would always take me around the back, you know, show me a couple of things. And I always played with guys that were a little bit older than me, so I really got a love of the game very early. I played high school for years, wound up playing in Columbia while I was there as well. Played some semi-pro in the summer leagues, and like you said, we played together. And I always loved the competition. I like the challenge. And basketball has a lot of similarities, you know, to things that we do in life. So it's a great sport to be part of.
Now, what's so interesting is that you was at Columbia probably the same time that Barack Obama came to Columbia. And we all know that Barack Obama was a big basketball fan, so
right.
Maybe just runs in that Columbia blood.
Right.
All right, so tell us, how does a person, a civil engineer who a lot of people associate with being a nerd, any engineer they associate with being a nerd, how does that person, you know, develop this entrepreneurial mindset that you developed over the years, and where did it start?
I think my entrepreneurial interest started when I was real young.
Okay.
The Daily News used to have this article in the Parade magazine, which I think they still have today. It's the Sunday portion of the magazine. And it's interesting because it talked about, you know, collecting coins. And if you found the right coin, the right year, it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I have a large family. I have 6 brothers and 2 sisters. Okay. And I always wanted to be that kid in the family that took care of the mother and the family and just helped a lot of people. I think my calling has been to help people. So for me, becoming an entrepreneur really had more to do with helping other people than it did with making a lot of money.
Okay.
And it still stands today. It just have to be an extension of that. But I think my interest in being an entrepreneur was figuring out a way to help other people. And I thought by having a lot of money, that would allow me to do that. So it started very early. Then when I got into high school and college, in fact, one of my close friends, C. Thomas Gambrell, was probably one of the first people to approach me about network marketing, which is another industry. And my interest from that point has been, you know, still today, because it's an opportunity to help the average person have an above average lifestyle. So
now that was your first real business that won in network marketing, or did you do anything prior to that? Yeah,
prior to, it was always network marketing, but prior to working with C. Thomas Gambrell, I think it was a lot of people probably exposed to Amway. I was at my mother-in-law's house, at the time my mother-in-law's house, And she said, "Come on in the kitchen. I want you to see something." And,
Okay.
so I got kind of duped into sitting through a meeting,
Right.
signed up, didn't really do much with it, and that was kind of my first taste of it. But in terms of business, I think network marketing is probably my really first exposure in terms of business.
Okay. Okay. Now you did the telecommunications business, and you did a little bit of the Amway business. So what have you been doing since then? What other business have you been doing?
Since then, there's been I did a health and nutrition company
Okay.
for a little while. Actually, it's more like a buyer's club where you get discounts. I like the products, so I still use them, whether I make money from it or not. But my latest has been in the commodities industry, in particular gold and silver. After watching the market over the last couple of years, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out, okay, what I want to do next. There's a lot of companies doing health and nutrition. Some of them, like, are very overpriced. And the question I always ask myself is, if I'm going to go into the business, would I buy this product whether or not I made money from it?
Yeah.
And that was kind of what I look at. One of the first questions I ask myself, because a lot of times myself and a lot of other people at network marketing, they get into a company and they market a product that they probably wouldn't necessarily buy if they weren't part of that business.
Right. Okay.
So that became my defining point. But also just watching what's been happening in the industry, the dollar's been very weak. Gold and silver has always been, and through the history of our time, had been something of value because it has content. And just watching what's been happening in the market, I happened to come across a company that really is taking advantage of the gold and silver industry, and that's what I've been doing for the last year, I would say.
Okay. And it's so incredible that we were talking before we started the interview that one of our old friends had told me about 4 years ago that the economy is going to dip and you need to start collecting gold. And we see all these commercials on about about buying back gold and stuff like that. So right now, your company is selling gold or is helping people collect gold? What is it doing exactly?
Yeah, the